What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a Maximum Football review here on the channel. We got a lot of things to cover about this game, so what do you say we get right into it? Douglas, are you ready? He's ready. Let's do it. Customization, that's where you're going to be able to edit teams and create something your very own. Logo editor, another customization option. Season play, I'm not entirely sure what that is. I think that's dealing with the fake pro teams and the Canadian teams. And then, of course, the college dynasty mode, the much anticipated mode that we are going to be talking about a little bit later in this review. Obviously, the Play Now teams is only based on the fake pro teams. Obviously, the Philadelphia Firebirds are the Philadelphia Eagles. Who are we kidding? The 49ers there. They have 6 different weather options that you can choose from rain to snow to nighttime to a sunny day. Everything that you want as far as customizing your game experience. Rule-based set. U.S. College, I'm assuming that's 1 foot in bounds instead of 2. We have only a couple options for quarter lengths. Can't really specify what you want. If you wanted 8 or 9 minutes, too bad, can't have it. It's only based on 3, 5, 7, 10, and 15. And then they have a catch modifier. Basically a catch slider. It's the amount of success that your receivers or your running backs, your offensive players basically, that are going to be able to catch the football. But you will notice one thing, it's a slider and there's more toggling. So why do I emphasize that? Well, you'll notice it here when we get to talking about the logo editor and the customization screen for your team. Nice looking Jackrabbit logo right there, right? Pretty cool, right? What if I want to change the colors? More sliders, more specific numbers that you can't really reach. It's very frustrating. We have a blue main color. Pink, red, doesn't change the main logo color, which is something that is fairly frustrating to me because I was assuming, and maybe I'm wrong in this, maybe a lot other people out there will correct me in that, but I was assuming that you would be able to take a stock logo and then be able to change the color of that logo, at least change, you know, like let's say that duck in the upper right, change that blue to red or change that yellow beak to orange or something like that, but you can't do that. So if you're going to create a team or you're going to alter a team, basically you have to almost like stay within that color scheme because you're not going to take that Huntington Bass logo, it's green right now, you're not going to change it and you're not going to make the team orange and blue. You know, you're going to have to stick with what that logo looks like. And lucky enough for me is I found an Ardmore Thunderwolves type of logo here. We got a blue wolf with yellow eyes and white accent colors in his beard. Like, it just makes sense for me. So I was able to take that logo and create the Ardmore Thunderwolf. So I kind of got lucky a little bit because that wolf could have been any other color, but he was blue and yellow. So it works for me. Here's the customization screen for the uniform. And again, we have more sliders and color mixing. So you're going to have to really play with this. You're going to have to either write the numbers down, which is, again, very, very problematic. Very problematic for at least consistency issues and just for the sake of time. And this is a recurring theme about this video game that I've noticed when it comes to editing anything, when it comes to customizing anything in this game, is that things take time. Plus, even when you're inside the football game, which we'll actually go into in just a few moments, we'll actually see some gameplay. Loading screens take forever. And it's very frustrating to when you're just trying to play a game, you're trying to just get through it. It's hard to get through. You can change the font, so the Ardmore text right there on the chest and the numbers will change. But again, more toggling. You can't actually select what you're going after. You have to toggle. You have to slide through to get to the exact numbers. Very cumbersome. Very problematic for consistency. Here's another consistency issue here. When you add a logo onto the side of the helmet, you have to basically remember how much that you went in width and how much that you went through height with that logo, because now that looks like that on the right side, you have to repeat that very same process on the left side so it matches up. Fortunately for me, through about 15 to 20 minutes, I was able to do that. And then there are your away uniforms for your Ardmore Thunder Wolves. So here is the customization screen for your roster. And another frustrating thing about this game is that the only way that you can get to a specific positional group is you have to go to position and then sort. You can't actually toggle through or list out like through that roster spot by selecting RB. There's no listing of positional group. You actually have to go sort it, do an alpha search for it, alphabetical search, in other words, for it, and then that's the only way that you're going to find a specific player or a specific position that you want to go edit. More toggling here, dark skin, light, medium, helmet types, again, more toggling, but you can't really see the changes unless you're totally zoomed in, which makes it, again, more problematic for the user. Not very user-friendly so far from a customization standpoint. You can edit the ratings. There's not a lot of ratings to choose from, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe more simplistic and more simplicity is better in that regard. But don't forget, save and close after you make your edit of your player. To go to the depth chart, this is another very messy type of screen here. Once you click depth chart, it takes you to a global depth chart where you can actually see all of your current starters in a specific position. And then the available players on the bottom are your bench players. I have heard it been said that not all of your best players are currently your starters, which is confusing to me because, I mean, I get it. It's a game based on customization, but at the same time, it should automatically default to have your best players start, your best overall players start, including the fact there needs to be a button here that says I want to send all of my starters to the top of the depth chart. That's what NCAA 14 does. That seems like something very simple. Just put that best player in that positional group as my starter. That's how it should work. In order to swap players, you actually have to hit the Y button or the triangle button. You can't just hit the A and then swap them out with the A, even though that's what I'm looking at directly head on that screen. The direction for the Y button input was over there to the right, the very right side of the screen. If you go backward, you will notice that one more time. But it's a very, very frustrating thing to figure out. It just takes time. And that's really what people just want to just pop the game in and have it just flow and be very intuitive. A lot of the things in this game are not very intuitive, what I've noticed here. So that's not necessarily a knock on the indie developers on Spear Interactive or Canuck Play. It's not a knock on you guys, but maybe just take it for consideration that, you know, things need to be a little bit more intuitive, and maybe a couple more options for help screens or anything like that, because I noticed a lot of people were having issues with kickoffs as well in their gameplay, thinking that you had to actually hold it back and then push it forward, when in actuality it's just literally a flick. It's just go back and forward real quick. To select your defensive player, you actually have to hit the right bumper, and you can't like directionally choose your defensive player. You have to actually cycle through each and every player to get the guy that you want to user up. The play art and the play screen, that's really difficult to read. I haven't yet to figure it out. I don't know if yellow means man or if red means man or what means blitz, but obviously blue is zone coverage. And we'll take one more look at it here on a 3rd and 10. I just don't know. It's so small that I can barely even read it. And I get it that there's color coding, but I got to know what this stuff means. And maybe more experienced Maximum Football players that are out there can guide us that need to learn how to play this game. But again, it's not very intuitive. It doesn't tell me enough. It doesn't give me enough information for what I'm trying to figure out and what I need to know. And that's not very user-friendly. So that was defense. Here's offensive play calling. And we see that the routes are color-coded, which is nice. So the X receiver is blue. The yellow receiver, the tight end, is yellow. And the B receiver is red. For dropbacks, in your passing, the quarterback, you actually take control of the quarterback as soon as you hike the football, obviously. But you actually have to pull the quarterback back. There's no automation that takes place. You have to actually pull him back in order to get him away from the center, to get him away from the line of scrimmage, in order to initiate the drop back. There's no animation for it. It's literally all manual input. You have to bring that quarterback back to avoid the pressure, to avoid the pocket collapsing, I guess you'd say. But on a 3rd and 15, you'll notice here, wide open right here is the B receiver. So he's going to be crossing the field. He's wide open. I'm pressing the B button. As soon as I know that he's going to be open, doesn't throw the football. Well, the more that you play this game, you'll notice that it takes forever to initiate the passing animation. And I don't know if that's by design or if that's just kind of a game like glitch type of deal, but I'm pressing B like as soon as he hit that first down line. That's when I had pressed B, so you guys can see it. It was just maybe like a half a second or 1 second delay, and that messes with your throw. It really does. If you're that split second off, it could lead to a sack. And maybe that's just on the user. Maybe that's on me. You got to have more anticipation of when your receivers are going to get open. Like I said, maybe that's just by design. I don't know. But you'll notice one thing. On that 4th and 18. 4th and 18, I'm just having fun, right? I'm just going for it. Crossing routes. Post patterns, crossing routes. They're the most effective route so far that I've noticed in this game. So I'm running a ton of crossing routes here. And I'm going to try this play that doesn't have a lot of crossing routes here, and I actually get sacked because the play took way too long to develop here. But they did bring the blitz on that right side, but I do like that animation. So that's something that I can take away from this game that I actually do like, is that right guard, actually the right tackle, took the end, but the right guard was trying to pull back towards the quarterback, at least to that linebacker that was blitzing on that side, and he just didn't get to him in time. So that was kind of a cool animation there too, that it's not, the offensive linemen actually have some semblance of AI, some intelligence here, where as in Madden, it's not so much. That time I was trying to actually learn how to roll out, which eventually I would learn, hey, go to the control menu and figure out how to go, how to scramble. It's the LB button, so it's the left bumper, and we're going to try it right here on this play. There's an LB, so they do scramble, and they can run pretty good. I mean, John Hicks has got 87 speed, so if you're creating your players here and your quarterbacks, 87 speed will get the job done for positive yardage. So on a 2nd and goal, I'm looking at like X or I'm looking at Y right here, and I'm actually going to try to scramble again, but this offensive lineman, that's a little bit of a glitch. There, I couldn't get past that offensive lineman, so I got kind of blocked right there and just trying to get rid of it, trying to avoid the sack, throwing to A. So you can throw on the run, which is good to see in this game. This play does not look like it's going to be very effective, so I'm going to try to scramble yet again, and this time moving backwards somehow works. Little juke. You can juke to the right, you can juke to the left. That's actually the trigger. The right trigger will make you juke to the right. Left trigger will make you juke to the left. I made the poor decision of juking to the right instead of the left, and thus going out of bounds. 4th and goal, and here's what I'm talking about with the delay in getting rid of the football here. I'm looking at Y or X, and you'll notice here when I snap the football, I'm immediately hitting Y. I'm hitting Y trying to throw the ball, and he won't do it. And just because it takes, for whatever reason, the input, there's some input lag there where it takes a while for the CPU to register that, hey, you're trying to initiate that pass, which again would be kind of just a critique on my end. I don't know if you guys that have played this game have had that issue, whether that's by design or whether that's something that's actually wrong with the game. I would think that they would probably try to fix that in a patch or an update to try to get that right. You guys will notice here, 3rd and 39. 3rd and 39. I cannot believe this, but we're going to try to scramble here and toss it right over the defense, right over top of that safety, and Gabe Hart is going to go in for the touchdown. And again, there you go. So there's living proof. Crossing routes, post patterns, it seems to work. I mean, 3rd and 39. And we're going to chuck it deep for a touchdown. So that was a little bit of the gameplay. I think that it's not as bad as people are talking about the game. It kind of reminds me of Quarterback Club 98 or Quarterback Club 2000. Brett Favre on the cover. And for N64, that's what this game reminds me of, at least as far as the gameplay and the animations go. And that's saying something. That's really saying something for a team of 3 people, 3 to 5 people. That's really saying something. So guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of a review here for the logo editor. And of course, if you want to just advance to the Dynasty mode, timestamps are below in the comment section if you're not really interested here to learn about the logo editor. This is a very, very manual process. So if you want to make your own logo, you can do it, but it does take some time to get used to and learn. Everything is a very step-by-step process, and you almost really have to just have a plan for what you're trying to do with your logo editing before you actually do it, because it could get messy, it could get confusing to figure out, hey, I need to fix this. How do I go back? How do I do this? And then by that time, you get super frustrated, and you're like, screw it. I'm just going to use one of the stock logos and say, F it. So here you go, guys. You actually have to hold the button in order to make things happen. So if you want to move your logo, you actually have to hold the A button. If you want to scale it, you have to hold the B button. If you want to rotate it, hold the X button. If you want to choose a different part, or you want to choose a different shape, on the canvas actions, you actually have to hit the bumpers in order to select your part. So select your colors. It's again, more sliders, and that's only activated with the right stick. It has nothing to do with the left stick. You can't get down to that part with the left stick. It's all right stick based. Now, if you want to duplicate that shape, you go to shape actions with the right trigger, duplicate that circle, and then you're able to move that part over to the right. So that's how I did that. Now I've got 2 eyeballs. By the way, guys, we're making a crab. We're going to make a little crustacean crab here for the logo. So you guys will notice 2 eyeballs there. The little feet, the little claws at the bottom of his... Almost looks like a jellyfish, I guess, instead of a crab. But you guys get the idea here. To change the colors, I'm changing this to white, so I ended up duplicating the red circle. Now I duplicated that, making a white one to get his eyeball, right? Now I'm going to go back, duplicate the white one, move it all the way over. You guys see what I'm saying here? It's super, super manual, super step-by-step. Gotta have a plan before you get into it, because otherwise it gets really confusing. Duplicate the white circle on the right, color pick, color create, I guess you'd say. Make it black, scale it to however you want it, and that's actually the pupil. You can scale it to be more horizontal, you can scale it to be more vertical. And this is basically how you logo edit in this game. Very, very, very manual. Very manual. If you go to shape actions, you can duplicate that black pupil, move that all the way over to the left, and there you go. So now you have 2 eyeballs for our crab, and then we're going to go ahead and change the color here to red. And I duplicated the body, and now you can actually sort the layers. You can notice here that the new red shape is on top of the eyes now, right? Treat everything like layers. If you know Photoshop, then you'll be pretty good at this. You'll be good at understanding how this whole thing operates. And you know what? Even if you're a beginner making new logos, then I mean, this is kind of a different way to learn Photoshop. A very basic, very, very, very elementary way of understanding Photoshop. But I duplicated the body. Now I change it to black, and I'm going to layer it with the trigger to put it behind the red body to kind of give it more of an outline. And you can see it right there. So the black finally gets moved to the back end behind the red. And we're just going to kind of scale it here to get it really where I like it. I want that black to be just a little bit showing past the eyes back there. So that's good. And then obviously adding more shapes to it. That's the final product. And there you go. So you have your crab. Very, very elementary logo right there for logo editor. That'll be kind of the general gist of how to use the logo editor. But remember to actually go ahead and save your logo. Because if you don't save it, you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose everything. So how do you actually go in and how do you use that team that you just created from your logo editor? How do you use them? Well, if you go to customize, you can take control over one of the pro teams, like Tampa, let's say Tampa, and then we can actually go ahead and select that logo. And then we're going to find them on the very last page at the very bottom. So that's going to be how you're able to select your logo edited team. And then from there, more sliders for your colors. And that, my friends, is basically how you use your logo editor. And there's the final product for your jerseys. And now we can actually go see them in action through Play Now. All right, so gameplay against the Ardmore Thunderwolves. I'm obviously the Crabs, or the Fightin' Crabs from Northeastern Carolina against the Ardmore Thunderwolves. Pretty cool to see your creations in this game play off against one another, and that's obviously going to add to the allure of this game, is that the fact that, you know, for people that really love Teambuilder and the fact that it's gone, you guys are going to be able to use your creativity and do whatever you really want to in this game as far as customization goes. But it's very, very, very tedious. Very tedious, and again, it just takes a ton of time in order to get that job done. And of course, it's a very basic type of logo editor, and you're not going to be able to do the things that you could actually do in Photoshop. You can't import any logo that you create from Photoshop in the game, as far as I know. I haven't heard of anything of the sort from Spear Interactive or Canuck Play on that regard. I don't know if that's ever going to be in the works or not. It'd be really cool if that were to happen. But again, kind of sucks that you can only really choose. If you're not going to use the logo editor, you really have to just use the stock logos that they provide and then go from there as far as making your uniforms, and then go from there as far as making your roster. And even then, like I said before, it just takes time, takes a lot of effort. And that's really the name of this game, is that it's just time consuming. The game in itself is time consuming, and we'll actually look at that in a little bit here with the dynasty mode. So obviously nothing that I'm saying here is to take shots at anybody that helped make this game or the developers. You know, I appreciate you guys for even giving me the chance to even do a team reveal for this game. And I think it's awesome. I really do. I think it's awesome the fact that like 3 to 5, maybe 7, I think is the number of you guys that were involved on making this game and making this product come to life like that. This is not easy stuff. Like, sometimes I think content creation is hard. Imagine trying to make a video game that works, is functional, is operational, is coded correctly. Like, it's insane. It's insane. So for anybody out there that is trying to compare this game to NCAA Football 14, that's not a realistic expectation. They don't have hundreds of people working on their line here to make this a possibility. So shout out to you guys that for Maximum Football that ended up making this thing happen. It's awesome. It's awesome, and I'm glad that I ended up buying this game to invest in your product and to eventually make it better. If there isn't another NCAA football game coming out from EA Sports, or hey, maybe you guys in the long run make it better than EA Sports, I think that that's a good place to start, is right here. So guys, here we are in the Dynasty mode, and you guys will notice that the current roster screen, it does show on the right-hand corner here the class that they're in. So redshirt freshman, junior, redshirt, so on and so forth. Here's the current depth chart. It looks exactly the same as it does when you're trying to set your depth chart on the global screen. It's the same setup. If we take a look at the recruiting board or the prospect screen, this is where really a lot of people who love Dynasty are going to get their money's worth for this game. It's kind of strange, the quotes or the fun facts for these players. Collects shoes. Alan Fleischer likes to collect shoes. And Raheem Spaeda only watches sports on television. But you're a defensive lineman, so are you watching the game on your butt the whole time because you're getting pancaked? That's what it is. Laris Scarlato, quarterback or wide receiver. Yep, wide receiver from Somerville, Alabama. One thing though that you'll notice, the 3 schools that are the most prominent, West Carolina, Mobile, Tuscaloosa, it's always the same. So maybe there's a patch coming out for that, but it is kind of weird that all these prospects are only interested in those top 3 schools. When we actually go into the recruiting board, you guys will notice that I can't go talk to Scarlato because he's locked us out. He's locked us out. I've offered him a scholarship, and he's locked us out. He doesn't want to talk to us anymore. But look at these names. Look at these names. Sidaleki Sichi. He goes to the movie theater every weekend. Every single weekend. So is he a fatty? He's a wide receiver, so he shouldn't be fat. But you guys can see up here on the screen, the bar, he's mildly interested in the Orlando Swarm. Not totally interested, but it's basically like past NCAA games where you could actually pitch things about your school to the prospect, whether or not those things matched. Like if he really values pro development and your school is good at pro development, then there's a match made in heaven right there. For us, training facilities are good, and for him, for the recruit, that's an elite level thing for him. He really, really, really values that. And so I think that was a good match. So we were able to move him a little bit closer to that green. You never really want to hard sell because that's really when they just shut the phone off on you, which is obviously not good. You want to keep that phone call going as long as possible in order to get them in the green. I have noticed, though, if you advance a week, even though if you're in the green on a guy for week 1, it doesn't mean he's going to stay in there for week number 2. So if you advance the week, sometimes they do move a little bit more backward. So that is a possibility. Like you see this guy, Samisi Skewers. He actually moved really high once we offered him a scholarship. And I think we're going to try to get him in the green right here. So he's now in the green. This was the guy. Even after we scheduled a visit, this was the guy. This was the quarterback that ended up moving backward into the orange, into the middle section here after we ended up simulating week number 1. So guys, that's pretty much recruiting. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. I still have not figured out what exactly the quotes mean or if it has any sort of importance whatsoever. I don't know if that impacts the type of player that they are or the type of awareness that they have, what kind of attributes they have. I haven't really figured that out quite yet, but it is kind of weird, some of the things that they say. I'm not going to lie. It is kind of strange. But we have all the different conferences here in the schedule. And the Super South Conference, you guys can tell, Tuscaloosa, Baton Rouge, Gainesville. This is obviously the SEC. Atlantic Coast for the Orlando Swarm. And the ACC, simulating one game takes about 5 seconds. But if you actually wanted to go ahead and simulate the entire week, like you're simulating the entire NCAA in this game, you can only get down there by scrolling. And now look at this. So one game of 24. So I ended up simulating these other games with the check mark. But 2 of 24, 3 of 24, 4 of 24. It takes a long time. It takes a long time. Which is, again, kind of the gist of this whole entire game, is that things take a long time. from loading screens, from customization, from simulating, even if you're not a fan of the gameplay and how the game operates in play. If you wanted to do a simulation style of Dynasty, it's going to take you a while, man. It's going to take you a while. I mean, I'm only 10 of 24 right now. This has gone on for about maybe 20, 30 seconds. It's going to take you a while. So, guys, that's going to be it for this review as we simulate week number 1. And let me know in the comment section if you want me to go ahead and you want me to make a Dynasty for this. I don't know how many times I'd be able to upload it per week because I know I'm very, very busy doing our Big 12 Teambuilder Dynasty, which I'm having a lot of fun with, and I know you guys are having a lot of fun with it too. If you guys want to see the Ardmore Thunderwolves in action, along with the Nebraska State Prairie Dogs, which was my brother's team, or the other 10 Teambuilder teams all in one conference, basically maximum football style, but with one conference in NCAA 14, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in one of those videos. Or maybe, if you're interested in a Maximum Football Dynasty, I'll see you in that one as well. So guys, leave a like if you like this thing, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, peace.